Well, hello and welcome back to the GCM Scale Garage. And we got a fantastic part 2 today of the vintage Tamiya collector Sang. He brought over a whole bunch of awesome stuff, and we're actually going to do this video in 2 parts, part 2 in 2 parts, because there's not enough room on the table. So, and I think Sang was up until 3 a.m. building this car right here, so we're going to actually have to give him a break, maybe a nap.
A nap in between would be, yeah.
We'll do a nap in between. So, anyways, welcome again.
Well, thanks for having me
Thanks for coming back. What are we going to talk about today? Looks like Buggy Day.
Yes, so thought I'd start, we kind of grouped them of similarities or same class, I guess, if you want to compare them. On the my left-hand side here, like the part 1, I brought the Grasshopper, so that's the Hornet, which is virtually the same car, except it has some upgrades, like the motor. It's no longer 380, it's a 540. It has oil shocks, and it has a Lexan body.
So this is a Hornet, but it's actually a Grasshopper.
No, it's complete Hornet. It's just based on the Grasshopper came first, and then this is the
scaled up version, right?
Scaled up version, yeah, higher performance.
Yeah.
With the oil shocks and the 540 motor.
So this one here is completely stock, completely vintage, correct? Because there are the re-release out there.
Correct, yes.
And this one is actually a beautiful, beautiful rendition of the original Hornet, and it's gorgeous. It's just in mint shape. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I mean, from the way it's in here, it's hard to tell from the reissued or the original, but I popped this body off. So here, when I show the electronics, that's like going back in the 80s. You have the large receiver Futaba with a 2-channel, could have been a 2-channel stick radio or a the pistol grip type. And it has your famous mechanical speed controller that gets stuck or catches on fire. Depends how fast you're going. Yeah, so
I mean, it's just like it's perfect. There's not a scratch on it. It's just amazing. All the plastic is crisp. You know, the sheen, the look, the feel. It's just really nice on it. Perfect condition.
How did you find this thing so clean? Because I mean, how old is this car now? 30 years old.
I guess about 86. This was for sale at a hobby shop about 85 to 88-ish, I would say. And so I got this from a collector out of town, and I think I bought about 5 or 6 cars from him. And this is something I bought about 4 years ago, and it doesn't look like it's ever been ran.
I don't think it's ever been run.
It's got the Lexan body that came with it, and again, some vintage stickers there. The headlights. Really well done, really well kept. Nice little time capsule. Really nice piece.
I don't want to maybe point this here. This actually it's double taped on, but the 4 batteries for the receiver.
Oh yeah.
So this thing here with the battery pack NiCad probably weighs like a ton. And back then they have the those for your speed controller for channel 2, and then for channel 1 for your steering. So that's what powers it off.
Right.
So, and then shortly after that, they have BEC, it's for battery elimination circuitry.
Yep.
Where you could actually remove that, and that's like a step upgrade. I know it's not much of an upgrade, you know, now it looks kind of, it's unheard of because you won't use that anymore. But this is with the actual old receiver with that 4-cell battery that controls that.
Probably one of the most iconic RC cars in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Like, everyone remembers the Hornet. I mean, it's out there. Everyone knows the Hornet, but certainly saying you've got a really nice one that is a great example in front of us for today, for sure.
Did you ever run one of these, Dana?
No, I think it was the Hornet that I had, and I wanted one of these, and then I went right to the Bill Elliott Marui.
Yes.
I went from the Grasshopper to that. So I never had one of those. Always wanted one. And you know, every time you see one, especially this close in this good condition, you almost want to either pick up a vintage or a re-release out there just to have on the shelf and, you know, take down and go to the beach or what have you and rip around with it. Because, you know, again, it's that iconic 80s RC car for sure.
Yeah.
Looks great.
And this is the bouncy Hornet.
Oh yeah, I
This
mean,
famous of Tamiya you were mentioning last time.
yeah, I mean, you don't. Certainly, the suspension on it, is an afterthought, but you buy it for nostalgia more than performance. I think at this point.
Yeah, there's a bit of a caster toe problem on this country. It's leaves something to be desired on the performance side, but.
So then was there a Hornet 2 that came out, or a Super Hornet? Like, what's the scale up from that?
Yeah, so the Super Hornet, to be honest, I
This
never
one?
heard about it until
Yeah.
about 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Because that's when I wasn't into RC. I was in high school, and that was like late 80s, early 1990s.
Yeah.
And that's when I completely stopped playing with RCs, and I believe this came out just around that time frame.
Okay.
And it said I never heard about it until about 4 or 5 years ago, and
So this is a vintage version of that, and we're thinking late 80s, early 90s.
yeah, this
Hornet?
is probably I would say late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
It's not. It's just a completely different. That's the Hornet. This is Super Hornet.
Right.
It has a few improvements, like the front suspension. It has oil suspension.
Oh yeah.
And the back, I think, has a little more travel and a little beefier suspension.
Yep.
But other than that, not much difference.
Yeah, it's a nice piece.
This is a vintage car?
Yeah.
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 How come it looks so completely mint?
Just never been ran. It was built and sat.
Is that an eBay find or?
No, like same collector I got with the
Oh, okay.
Hornet.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually asked me if I want the Super Hornet, and at first I said, no, never heard about it, not really interested in it, until I saw it, and I'm like, wow, this is a beauty, I want it.
Right.
Yeah, because I had no connection. Like the previous time with part one is when I was saying that a lot of cars I had connection when I was little, and I started collecting.
Sure.
This I never heard about 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And then, oh wow.
But you just have to add it to the collection. Once you get the Hornet, you need the Super Hornet kind of thing, right? You just
Exactly.
They keep multiplying.
Yeah.
Oh, looks good. Looks good.
This car is super clean.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, this one has, I think it's a hard plastic shell. Oh no, it's kind of,
Is it Lexan or hard plastic?
it's hard plastic.
Yeah,
but
it is.
thinner.
It's a plastic shell, yeah.
Oh, isn't
Yeah.
that interesting?
Yeah.
Cool. And so then is that a knockoff that's there? What's this? I don't recognize
one?
this one. Yeah.
Isn't this like another Hornet?
Yeah, this one. Well, at first, if you look at it, you would think it's a Hornet or a grasshopper.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is actually made by a company called Academy.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know about that company.
Yeah. So this would be like your grasshopper would be like $99, and this would be like $89, even cheaper. And
Right.
it's almost a direct copycat. Everything pretty much looks the same. Like as a matter of fact, the chassis probably is identical. Like the parts you could probably swap on it.
Now, were we buying this at a hobby store, or were we buying this at like a toy store, like an Toys R Us or something like? Is this hobby grade considered, or is this more toy grade?
It's a good question. At first, it looks kind of toy grade, like you
Mhm.
go, but it's actually a kit that you build.
Oh, okay.
Because I actually remember at a hobby shop, and they had the Roadrunner. It's in the box, same size, shape as roughly the Tamiya ones.
Right.
Well, mind you, it wasn't as nice as a Tamiya, the artwork. It's more like a real picture and have it on the box.
Sure.
But this would be, like I said, even one step down from the Hornet in terms of price. I
Right.
mean, probably about 10% cheaper than the Grasshopper.
Cool. Neat.
Like everything is cheaper. Even the speed controller, it looks just terrible. Like I'm not sure how many speed that is, but it looks like a circuit board and a couple of.
Yeah, that it looks like it's got one reverse and two forward speeds maybe.
Right.
Yeah, something like that.
And do you actually do you run? What do you run here? Do you run this one? Is this a runner? Or are these sitting on the shelf or?
Well, this one is a local find, and when I got it, I did some work to it.
Okay.
It didn't. It wasn't set up properly. It didn't. Like I had to just to get it going. It must have been sitting for a while. I forgot exactly what I did to it, but I got it going.
Okay.
And I said if I brought the transmitter here and plug it in, this thing will go.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah,
Nice.
And it's got a hard body on it too.
it's a hard body. Yeah.
Wow, cool. So this is kind of the competition for the other ones. I mean, it looks the same, but it's a different company.
Exactly. Like even the rims and everything.
I wonder if it's rare because I mean I'm really rehearsed with Tamiya, but outside of Tamiya and Marui and what have you. I'm not sure of all of those. That might be a rare bird.
Could be. Yeah.
Neat. So then, and this is the wild one, and this one looks familiar. I think I recognize this one. And for those out there that are following us, we did a review on a wild one, but it was sort of the rusty wild one that
your car.
Yeah, that I had, and I had explained at that point that those were sort of the bits that I took off of the car that weren't quite right, and they ended up creating that sort of rusty wild one. And then this was the restored version that got all the good bits. And then you and I made a trade,
Yes.
and then you ended up with it, and so you've been running it and enjoying it, and it's great to see again for sure.
Oh yeah, this is, like I said, one of my favorite Tamiya buggies. It looks great, it handles except the first run I broke the rims on.
So that plastic tends to get old, right, and brittle. Yeah, of course.
It was actually, I was at a car show there out of town, and I hit a pylon, and the crowd loves it. The wheel went flying.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh no.
Well, it still looks good, and it's good to see. And of course, it's got this. I always love this, and it went with the package that I traded with you. But the Trinity horsepower vintage motor. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've seen a few of those on eBay and stuff. But that's original. That brings back memories. That was actually in the Marui.
Yeah.
And that's kind of neat. I like that.
Yeah, that was the motor. You know,
Back then, eh?
Trinity horsepower motors were the motors back then. I remember those too.
Yeah, World Championship 1987 on it. Neat.
Wow.
Yeah, neat. So that looks good. Sorry.
Was this car out at the same time as the Hornets and stuff? Did Tamiya release these all at the same time, or did they release them sort of like in stages, one after the other?
It's hard to say, because when I was into the hobby, like, all these cars existed,
Right.
except the Super Hornet.
Right.
They were all like, when I first time I remember went to a hobby store, I was like a kid in a candy store,
Yeah.
and I remember seeing these like side by side,
Sure.
and so they would. My guess probably came out probably 1 to 3 years apart.
Right.
So, I know the Hornet Grasshopper is probably around 85. This is probably 85, 86 time frame.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of them sort of. Well, you're both right. They were all sort of, by 87 and 88, they were all out and all available.
Yeah.
But, I think they were staggered within those years, starting 84, 85, 86, 87. There was a bunch coming out. And, staggered by each year. But, by the time we're 13, 14, they're all out to look at and have fun with.
Of what I read, the Sand Scorcher came in 79 with the Ford
That's
F-150
right.
and the Buggy Champ. And that's when Tamiya really got in serious, because Tamiya was more like a plastic model company.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Their kits, right? They're awesome kits for airplane, boats, even model cars, you name, motorcycle, tanks. And then when they got into the Sand Scorcher, I think this is when it really picked up. Like, it went, like, it just, after about 1979 is when cars slowly coming in. Like,
Right.
the Wild Willie, the first version came around 1982 or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And the Fast Attack must be about 83, 84.
Yeah.
And then it's just, they kept on releasing, like,
Yeah.
one after the next.
The glory days of
Yeah.
in the 80s, eh?
Yeah.
Those were good times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This one definitely seems like they've upped the scale look of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these, maybe they were making desert buggies for real that were kind of like this sort of style, but I mean, this car actually has like really good looking scale stuff on it. You got light pods on it and stuff, and then, you know what, you can see the interior a little better on it, and the cage work is a little nicer. It's like, to me, it's kind of like a full step above, the Hornet.
Yeah.
Well, again, we get back to scale, right? And just as you said, I mean, I think this is why it's one of the more popular ones, is the fact that, as you said, it looks like the real thing. What was it, Funko, I think, the manufacturer of these desert buggies back then?
Yeah.
And like, if you look at, and I may not be right, but the Funko buggies that were out there in the 70s and 80s, I mean, this one is a spitting image of it for sure, and super scale. So yeah, bang on, really nice piece.
This one's in good shape.
Yeah.
You did a good job restoring that.
Yeah, and you've done a good job wrecking some rims and having fun and
Yeah,
bashing it.
yeah.
Well, that's what it's all
been
about,
well
right?
used,
You know,
yeah.
you know. So for some people it's a shelf queen, and for some people he's out there ripping it around. But that's okay. That's what
Well,
it's all
it said
about.
the rims, they reissued this one here, so I actually went on the bay and bought a set of rims.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't put them back on because these look so good that so it's just sitting somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny too because when I was restoring this was just before the re-release of the Wild one. So you know I was struggling to get original parts, you know, and then of course, and so it's kind of good and bad these re-releases because it's good because you know parts tend to become available, but you know when you talk about the price, the collectability, and the price that it you know sometimes it affects that, but. You know, so it's sort of a good bad thing, but yeah, that piece came out nice. It was just unfortunate that the re-release came out a few months after. You know, I could have just bought that and had fun, but
Yeah.
that's the way it goes.
I made the mistake of paid a lot of money for. I bought one before this, the
Right.
black one that was in part 1.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but more than what I should. And then a month later, they re-released the wild one. And I'm like, oh, I should have waited.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to know?
That's
Yeah,
right.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of re-releases, I think we've got a beautiful example right here, and you might want to tell us the time and effort you took last night to get this one ready for the video.
Yeah. So
What is it?
this is the Tamiya called a Nova Fox,
Okay.
as opposed to the Tamiya Fox is the original Fox. At first glance, it looks identical until when I was building this last night, I realized there's quite a lot of differences between the Fox and the Nova Fox. And so this was actually in the box yesterday morning. It was like still in the box. I haven't even taken any part out. So I said, I'm going to start with the body.
See how far you get.
Yeah. So I went to the hobby shop, bought the body, bought the paint.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I washed the body. Then it dries, and then I start working on it. And then about 3 or 4 hours later,
Yeah.
I finished the body. Now that was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon by then. And then I started, okay, I got to build the car now, the kit.
Gotta put it on something, right?
I got to put it on something. Yeah. And so around 5 or 6 o'clock, I started building this. And I was literally up to 3 in the morning building this thing.
Well, we appreciate it for sure.
Oh,
and
man,
you know what?
funny.
Like in person, guys, and it's awesome. It looks really nice. I mean, the obvious sort of telltale signs that it's a re-release is it's now called the Nova Fox, and I wonder why they went from being called the Fox to the Nova Fox. There's got to be some sort of copyright or something to that effect. But.
Could be, but also to signify there's quite a few differences.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah, so next time maybe we talk about, because I should be having the original, like it's in the mail somewhere.
Yeah, you said you picked up an original?
Yeah,
Okay.
original in very good condition.
Okay.
And even with comes the original manual.
Right.
So maybe sometime in the future.
We'll do a rig
just
review between
side,
the two.
Yeah, side by side from the manual. We'll look at outline certain parts, and I mean I'm happy with it because there's probably some improvement from the original one to make it more modernized.
Okay.
Like for example, remember the original one has those hex drive shafts.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened is that once the sand, dirt get in there, those hex become a little rounded, so it spins, and so this has a dog bone, which eliminates that problem. And I think this one here accommodates larger battery. Like a lot of the light poles now, they're a little bit longer than the 7 point. Yeah. So it fits here. I was surprised that actually fit in here. I'm like, wow, look at that. Something must have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe had the hump battery back then.
Yeah. And you can also put a hump too. There's a hump there. You can't see it, but you can also put that in as well.
It's beautiful though. I mean, like in person, that's a really nice. I've never seen a Fox up close, re-release or vintage, and I also know now, seeing it, why it was such a popular one back then, and it looks really great. You've done a really good job on it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really nice.
For a car built in the middle of the night.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I started the body first because that's
you
what
get extra points.
Yeah, because the body was the hardest.
Yeah.
And one of the things I hate doing is the body.
Oh, yeah?
I love building. I don't mind cutting the pieces off, putting the gearbox together. But bodies, I can't stand it. I just, for one thing, I can't stand the smell of the paint.
Oh, okay.
and I just have no patience because that's something that you have to spend a lot. Like this body, nobody would believe it. Spent I think it's 3 to 4 hours
I can
from
believe
prepping it.
I can
Oh
believe
yeah.
it.
Yeah, even filed it around the corner.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
it's getting all your lines correct and getting them straight, and you know, like I mean, we all know that takes time. Yeah, I can believe it.
Sure.
I mean, something as simple as this is just one color with stickers on it can take that long because you know, I mean, look at the presentation. It's beautiful, and
Yeah.
I can also understand that can take some time. So great job.
Yeah, so I'm very happy with the finished product, and this is a runner. It has all the electronic, the speed controller, radio.
Right.
I've actually tested in the house around 3 in the morning. Scared my dog like crazy. My dog was sleeping, and all of a sudden it jumped up. Like, oh look, there's a fox.
Right.
And yeah, this is a runner. I'm probably gonna do in some video this summer at the beach. Maybe have some kind of a vintage Tamiya racing or
Perfect.
runs.
We can do the challenge again.
Oh yeah.
Well, and again, we did talk about that, but you know, you've got a vintage fox coming.
Yes.
Pending the condition, it may end up on the shelf, or you may run it. But the nice thing about a re-release is you've got the look and feel of '80s and that, you know, vintage, but yet you can go outside and bash the crap out of it and not have to worry about it. So yeah, this is going to be fun to see ripping around this summer for sure.
Oh yeah, I look forward.
And modern electronics.
And modern electronics.
You know,
of course,
stick
yeah.
your lipo in there
Yeah,
and whatever, and
exactly.
brushless if you want, whatever. It all fits.
Yep.
This,
Yeah.
you know what's really cool about this car is even as a re-release, Tamiya gives you the interior with the dude in there to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I'm starting to get real respect for Tamiya for
Yeah.
putting drivers in every car.
Yeah, it's true. You never really think about it, but yet almost every release from Tamiya has a driver.
It makes so much sense.
Right. And you know, again, scale.
Scale.
Right? So for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love these wheels, wow. Do they
Yeah,
ever shine, eh?
Yeah, gotta make sure I don't scratch them.
Or scratch them a lot, depending on
Yeah.
You might
how
scratch-
much fun you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We might scratch it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably gonna happen before I do. I'm not
Well,
sure. I'm not sure you want to just kind of pop this. You know,
Oh,
fix
yeah.
The body right there,
Yep, nice.
and
nice.
I thought I would outline. It's all covered here.
Yeah,
It's all
isn't that
the-
interesting?
So if you're running at the beach, you don't have to worry about the sand getting in, the electronics, and you could probably pretty much almost waterproof this here to a certain extent, like splash proof it, even with regular electronics, non-waterproof.
And the battery loads from the bottom, of course, right? So you can leave all this interior and all the electronics cover and everything. You can leave it all together.
Yeah, so 2 body clips here. Pop that up, and this swings like a door.
Yep.
Here. Very, very easy.
Nice.
I mean, as far as, because these modern electronics, you don't need to have access to them. They're like,
Yeah.
you know,
You
don't
know, you
have-
put them
yeah.
in place, forget about them, and you know they just last as long as you have the buggy, almost in most cases.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a beautiful build. Wow.
Well,
So,
great.
We've got more.
Yeah.
We're going to take a minute to switch the cards off the table and get some new stuff on, and maybe Sang needs a nap. Do you need a nap?
Yeah. So 2 hours.
yeah. No. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. So there's a fresh start. It's looks like 4x4 day up front, and then we've got these awesome monster trucks kicking around here. And yeah, let's start with that one.
Okay.
Move this out of the way.
What is this?
This is the Midnight Pumpkin, the original from 1986 or 87-ish.
Okay.
And looks like has never been ran.
Awesome.
These are hard body, right?
It's hard body, yeah. It's nicely painted too. Nice
It is.
glossy shine to it.
Yeah. And this shares a whole bunch of parts with the lunchbox, is that right?
Yes. This is exact same chassis. Everything's like identical to the lunchbox, except the body and the body post. But it's the same with. It's either you pick which one. Do you like the van or you like the Ford F100 body? That's what it boils down to.
Cool. And where did you find this thing?
Locally from the same person that I have a few of the vintage here.
It's
And,
got a little bit of tire wear, like somebody drove it at some point.
I would say just a little bit.
Yeah, it's got a few
probably.
scuffs here and there, but still pretty mint.
Yeah, it's probably ran maybe once or twice. You know, kind of just slowly and maybe it got rolled over once or so.
You know, would it have this decal package, or is that aftermarket?
This is decal. This is
That's-
box art.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
Did you have to restore it, or is it the same?
This is how I got it.
Wow,
Yeah.
really
Nice.
nice.
That's amazing, eh?
It's again another beautiful vintage Tamiya product, and it just looks so nice. Nice, really nice.
I like to say I built in that, but anything that I had back in the 80s or so, it's all long gone. It's
Sure.
probably somewhere buried or whatever. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
But like I said, these collecting from what I wish I had when I was a kid. But,
And so, which chassis is this? Is this?
I don't know what the technical name for it, because some of the Tamiya chassis, they have names like DT02
Oh, okay.
or WR02.
But this
Yeah.
ended up on a few other models, did it not?
Yeah, the lunchbox. And now they reissued the Midnight Pumpkin, which looks pretty much identical to this.
Okay.
And they reissued the lunchbox as well about
Oh, yeah.
5-6 years ago or 7 years ago. And they have another one with a I'm not sure you guys remember, it's called Mitsubishi Pajero.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it's basically pretty much the same mold as the ones in the back in the 80s is lowered. It has a similar chassis, but it has the like super rat wheels, like
Yep.
more smaller wheels.
Yeah.
So Tamiya reissued, but they put it on this platform, which actually looks pretty cool, but it's not at all like the original Pajero. So there's 3 different variations of this.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, that's certainly a nice one. I really like that one. And it was black too, right? Like it came black. Like the box art was black.
Yeah, yeah. Except the original body, which is this here, it's actually white.
Okay.
So you have to
Paint it.
paint it in black, like
Yeah.
prime it and so on. Spend 20 hours, whatever it takes to get it to a nice shine like this.
Very
And
nice.
these are 540 motors, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the wiper speed control inside.
Yeah. Let's pop this open here because I want to show the.
Oh, there you go.
The vintage electronics, which I like to look at, but I hate running these. They're a pain.
Why do you hate running them?
Oh well, your car could take off suddenly, and you get interference, and you're running all of a sudden the car decides to go right on its own, and the speed controller, if you're getting dust in there, you lose contact. You name it, all the reasons for failure is there.
Yeah.
Such a short wheelbase, you know. It's just big tire, short wheelbase, less corner like it's tipping over kind of thing, you know.
This was fun though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. I remember these when I was a kid. We used to hammer these things, and we loved them because they would do a wheelie
Right.
on a 1500 milliamp NiCad.
True. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
And that was all about the wheelie back then. I
yeah.
mean.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Actually, was it the 4 battery? I think it was sitting in back here, or no, I think the 4 battery packs sitting in the receiver sits here to add more weight.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
To
this
get
is
it
designed-
to.
Oh,
Exactly,
right,
yeah.
Get it to stand up.
Yeah, it could almost pull a wheelie without even moving because it's so much tilt on one side.
Right.
That's funny.
But as soon as you give gas, oh yeah, I remember people used to race this. Like there was a class like buggy with the Falcons and
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Fox,
Wow.
and then this would be with the same class. This is where I was growing up there with the Clodbuster as well. So you see the Clodbuster, big heavy truck going on the
Yeah.
track, and the lunchbox was just zipping passing it. It was just hilarious. But it was like bouncing every.
Sure, of
it was
course.
as it passes the Clodbuster.
Yeah. No oil shocks, eh?
No.
No.
It's just
No,
springs, and that's what you get, and air in the tire.
Wow.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
the air is what absorbed most of the bump, I would
Mhm.
say, not the shocks.
Amazing.
So the air in the tires is 30 years old.
Well, you have to take a sample. Of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Looks great.
Yeah.
Cool. And then this is not the same thing at all.
No.
This kind of looks like, wow, independent rear suspension and stuff. Like, what's the chassis underneath this?
So the last time I brought out the, you might remember the Blackfoot.
Yeah, yeah.
So the chassis itself, this is the Monster Beetle, which is the one step up from the Blackfoot, meaning it has oil shocks and probably a couple upgrade, the nice chrome, gold color rims.
Yep.
But when I got this here, it had no body. It was just on an eBay find.
Okay.
And I was gonna make a Blackfoot. I wasn't sure, right? And then just one evening, I thought, hey, I got an extra Sand Scorcher body, the reissued Sand Scorcher, like the one you see behind me. And I started to paint, and then I made it into Monster Beetle.
It's funny, when you get to this level and you've got, this many vehicles, it's nice that, you can sort of pick and choose chassis and bodies and, what's on the shelf that I haven't seen for a while, I haven't used for a while, and marry them up, and you can come up with combinations that look like this. This is a really nice piece.
So this is, you've got a 540 motor in there too.
No, this is the Trinity Monster.
Is that another one?
That's another one.
Of course you've got more than one, right?
Yeah. This is the 1987 World's Trinity Monster.
Yeah, this was the motor back in the days.
That
You got
sure
this,
was.
you're laughing.
Sure,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. I really like that. And so, did you paint that then?
I painted this recently, a
Yeah.
couple of years ago.
Okay.
So it's a vintage underneath.
Yes.
What about the tires? Like, I don't think I've ever seen that tire before in my life.
Again, this is one of my parts bin. Sometimes you're buying stuff and people are getting rid of, and you're just sitting somewhere for like
Right.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Then you're looking, wow, these tires, do I have 4 of them? Oh, look, I got 4 of them.
And it fits.
And it fits. So so I decided to go with these. They're a little more low profile. As opposed to the original one.
Right.
So you get a little more handling out of this on hard packed dirt or on the road.
Yeah.
And it gives it more of a cool look. So yeah, it says Team Lozy on it. So it must be, my guess is probably from one of their stadium trucks from the 1990s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
That's my guess.
And this is a runner for you, right? You
It
rip
is.
around on this one and have some fun?
Yeah, I ran it once. They said I don't run it because I got the Blackfoot that I run.
Okay.
So this is kind of redundant.
Right.
But I got all the electronics here to make it a runner.
Sure.
I mean, I just got to find a radio wherever I put it out of 50 radios or so and match the crystal.
Right.
Put a charged battery with Tamiya connectors. You
Fair
keep the
enough.
Tamiya
Yeah.
connector where you have fire hazard
Yeah.
and
Nice.
connection problem. So just plug it in and
Away we go.
ready to go.
Cool.
I like the aluminum steps on the side.
Yeah, that's an aftermarket. That someone made those or something?
Yeah, this is which company? CRP or something back in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Where they have upgrades.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually for the Frog or Blackfoot. I think this is more designed for the Frog.
Oh, yeah.
Because, but
Then
then it's
was
the same
that on
concept.
it, or was that from the parts bin that you had too that you decided to?
No, it's from the parts
Oh,
bin. It's
okay.
actually from a Blackfoot that I may have showed you that I got and has full of hop-ups.
Oh,
And
okay.
I took all hop-ups, I restored it to what it should look like.
Right.
Then I got a box full of extra parts.
Right.
And this is one of them. So I decided to give just a couple little minor upgrades. Nerf bar looks kind of cool with this body style.
It does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of enjoyment out of taking the parts or taking something that's sitting there that looks like it needs help and then spending the time to restore it and going through some of the parts that you wouldn't normally use and being able to sort of create something and there's a lot of enjoyment in that, and this obviously reigns through with this. This is good.
Look at the map in here.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
The guy's got a map. The passenger.
Mint.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
That's a nice piece. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great car.
Thank you.
So, we're back. We're still in the sort of monster truck class here, but this is like a third. Now we got a third chassis design here.
So about 82, 83 to me had the Wild Willie, which is virtually identical body. It may have some minor, like the way the body sits, the holes in that, maybe it's not lined up, but it's basically, I'd say about 90% identical. Body was on a smaller platform, but sitting lower, and has the wheels kind of like a buggy, like grasshopper wheels,
Okay.
and it was designed to pull wheelies. It was just a really cool, very scale. If you want to call it a scaler back in the days.
Sure.
It was very scale.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody had the Jeep and a little bigger tires and pulls wheelie on it. So this one here, it's a mixture of. He said this one here. I think Tamiya may have discontinued about 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
But they still use, this is called the WR02 chassis, and they have different variations of that, ranging from the VW Bus.
Right. Which is one of their newer releases.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And what else? There's this Suzuki Samurai, or it's called Jimny. Which
Yeah.
is a really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the look of that body.
Do you have
It's
that one?
No, I don't.
No.
But it's the same platform. I think I could probably put that body in just to change the body post.
Right.
And now they have the Farm King, which is John Deere, which
Yeah.
is some people think it's cool, some people think it's weird,
Yeah.
ugly, and
Yeah.
then there's the other couple. You have to kind of be into it. I
Yeah.
just think it looks weird, but it's funny at the same time.
I think out of all of those ones that sort of married to this chassis, this is my favorite. I think that's the nicest looking one. And for me, I don't remember the Sand Scorcher, and that era, like the early late 70s, 79. But this one I remember seeing and catching my eye because then I was old enough to sort of recognize it being a remote control car, and I wanted to get into it. And I remember this one in particular early on and being, wow, that's really cool, really interesting. I'd really like to get into that.
So this is not a vintage.
No. Like I said, about going back 3-4 years ago, you could actually buy this kit the way it's sitting in here.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a re-release or something thereof.
It's something, yeah. Like at first, when you look at it, it's like, oh, they re-released the Wild Willie.
Oh.
And that's the thing of some Tamiya. You see, like the holiday buggy.
Right.
The original one is early '80s, like '81 or so.
Yeah.
But they still use that mold. They put it on a buggy chassis.
Right.
So you have a mixture of. It looks a little vintage, but it handles like a modern buggy.
Right.
Full suspension.
Right.
This
So
says
this is like-
says Wild Willie too.
Yeah. So this would be.
It's sort of like it was the same, but not.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it has modern electronics, right? You got electronic speed control in there.
Electronic speed control, modern radio, modern motor.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I think I've seen you run this one. This one's a runner, right?
It definitely is a runner.
Yeah, and it's doing papa wheelies all the
Right.
time. And, yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Man, I can't believe this. It's amazing. And we're not even done.
Okay.
All right. So next.
Next, so we're going to change again, right? We're going to sort of rethink this and talk about these four-wheel drive buggies.
Yeah. While you have the radio here.
Look at this thing.
Yeah. This is
This is a
vintage.
Challenger 250. You guys remember these? Woohoo!
They're
Yeah.
great.
Man, this was what it was all about.
It's funny, eh? Look how small and
Yeah.
funny looking it is. Anyways.
And
then
of
that
course
one.
the Attack 2. You guys
Right.
all remember these. I mean,
Yeah.
I must have gone through so many of these
Yeah.
different cars.
Interesting.
Wow.
So what is this? What are we looking at here? Got a nice, looks like a vintage collection of Tamiya cars. So what do we got here?
Yeah. So these I grouped them together for a reason. If you look at it, they share very similar platform.
Okay.
Most of the parts, like the gearbox, the main drivetrain is pretty much the same in all of these.
Yeah.
The differences are like the suspension. This one here, this is truly vintage. This is from, I don't think it has been ran for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, it certainly has the patina of vintage, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, like the suspension, it can't even stand on itself. It's terrible.
So this is not a runner. Sits on the shelf for reminiscing and having the patina of the 80s kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was, you asked me earlier if I'm going to restore this. No, I'm going to leave it just the way it is.
Just the way it is.
Some stuff, vintage stuff, sometimes it's just leave it the way it is. It's worth more and it means more
Sure.
than actually
Yeah.
restoring it. And plus, they reissued this buggy about 6 years ago too. So if I want to have nice, clean-looking Boomerang, just got to go and buy that, right?
So Chris, you have ties to this, right?
Yeah.
I think you may have just started to say that. Don't you have ties to this one?
Oh yeah. This was not this exact car, but maybe.
But maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I built one of these when I was a kid. This
Right.
was my first Tamiya kit,
Yeah.
and I saved and saved and saved and saved, and I stuffed all my money into this thing. And this was my first Tamiya kit, and actually I still had the box from it until a couple of years ago when Sang got it.
Of course
Yeah,
you
my
do.
original box.
Right.
So yeah, I got hours of memories in that car.
So yeah, speaking of memory, what were your thoughts of this car? Back then? Like, were you pleased with the performance,
Oh,
or was
boy.
it that typical '80s feel, or what have you?
Yeah, in our crowd of guys that we had running old cars back then,
Mm-hmm.
which were new cars,
Yep.
this was like the Tamiya. This one, like any one of these three,
Mm-hmm.
was the four-wheel drive platform that all of us wanted to get our hands on. You know.
Right.
And so when I got the Boomerang, everybody was like, "Whoa, that's awesome!" And I put it together, and I was so proud of myself for having done it. And then I got seriously let down when it came to electronics and battery runtime and the lousy timing chargers that we had to use, the 12-volt chargers. And so my experience with this car, building it, was really good. I got a little frustrated with the shocks. I remember that. I do remember that. But the car was really well made. I mean, they are well made.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
It's funny.
Tamiya has always made well stuff, whether it be
Yeah.
you know, in the 80s or now.
It's so funny to see it this old,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and see that the plastics are still in one piece,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I mean, it's amazing how long this thing has lasted.
It's true.
Well, the tires are kind of like hockey pucks.
Yeah,
the
they-
video.
Oh, yeah.
The rubber gets kind of.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
tires are just awful. Like they're super hard.
Yeah, and it's funny. That's the thing too. These Tamiya, they've always made really good product, and you know, here's a product from the '80s, which is really well built. But the Achilles heel to all of them, regardless of manufacturer, were really their electronics.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, you know, you're getting these re-releases and getting, you know, buying this vintage and restoring, and then being able to put in all of this new electronics, and as we said before, it really brings them to life. And
Oh yeah.
I think that's why, I mean, that the RC industry it seems to be really picking up nowadays. In the last,
I think so.
you know, 5 to 10 years, it's really picking up, and it's just going to keep going. So this is where it all started, kind of thing.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all sway bar monoshock in the front,
Yes.
Yes,
and then
that's
let's
right.
turn them all around here because there's the rear suspension is different on each one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They share this platform, but then, you know, and I remember this debate, right? I was having this debate with the guys in the local scene when I was building my Boomerang,
Okay.
and everybody was saying, oh, you got to get the monoshock in the back, or you need to have this one or that one.
Right.
And so to me, it made us these versions just so we could have a fight over it, I think.
Sure.
Otherwise, I don't really know what the point is. I mean, at the end of the day, they all sort of seem to run the same. I mean, you know?
I agree.
So you're saying this might be the Super Saber. Tell me about this. A rare bird. You know, what
Yeah.
specific to this one?
Well, it's basically the Boomerang.
Okay.
Wherever the parts are in blue, it's red here.
Okay.
Speaking of suspension here, this is a shorter shock than the Boomerang, so
Alright.
it has more like a low profile. I guess to make that one look more like a Boomerang shape, like a little Boomerang, right?
Yeah.
If you kind of look on the side here, and
Yeah, it's got a nice curve.
yeah, I don't know why they call it the Boomerang. I guess the shape, right?
Sure.
And this one here, I'm pretty positive this came shortly after this,
Okay.
right? Like, so this would probably be a year after,
Mm-hmm.
and they use the same platform and just a different body style. And I mean, personally, I like the looks of this better. Just my opinion. I think this is more cool, like modern kind
Yeah.
of body.
Yeah.
Than the Boomerang. But this is not too popular. If you talk to most people who knows what Tamiya, you say Super Saber, they probably never heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is a, to me it's a rare, one of the rare Tamiya that
Yep.
you don't hear much about it. Probably because this was just by far sells more, right?
Yeah.
People probably like this better.
Well, I mean, when I look at it, and I think Tamiya is a bit guilty of this, but this looks more indicative to what you would see racing around then. This looks more like a buggy that you'd see going around.
Yeah.
This here, I don't know, and Tamiya went in this direction for a while. It's kind of futuristic
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, it is.
and,
Yeah.
You know, so perhaps the popularity was people could associate to this and, you know, maybe see it on TV or, you know, in the desert or what have you racing around, whereas I don't know if I'd necessarily see that racing around.
No.
And even the Hot Shot looks very scale, very real looking compared to the Super Saber.
Yeah. That's a
Actually,
good point
maybe
there.
more so. I mean,
Yeah.
this has got a separate body from the tube work, you know, and a separate wing with a little tube work in the back. I mean, this is like even more scaled up than the Boomerang for
Really
sure.
nice piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is a re-release?
That's the re-release one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really nice. Well done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the travel on that thing. It's crazy.
Isn't it? And I've got one at home too, re-release that I have yet to drive, just sitting there.
Sounds like Boomerang Challenge.
Yeah, no
Or
kidding.
a Hot Shot Challenge.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Yeah, for sure. Now you're gonna have to get one.
Oh, I do. Everybody see this?
Try to find the remote for that.
So what
Sang-
scale did we say that? It was like 1/100th or something?
Yeah.
It's a
Sang found me this micro Hot Shot here
Yeah.
for the Scale Garage. Isn't that awesome? Look at that thing. Yeah, so I've got one.
Okay, all
And
right.
It's faster than yours.
There we go. You know, I'm just looking across the table here, and I'm seeing the names of the drivers that they get. Have you seen that? To me, it was always famous that. So we've got the Wild Willie, then we've got Eager Ted Edwards, we've got Crash and Kramer.
Crash Kramer.
Crash Kramer, thank you. And
Harry,
then
hurry up.
Harry, hurry up. Isn't that hilarious?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know of all the names of all the drivers, but it would be interesting to sort of get all the names together and have a good laugh.
They
That
all
is
have
funny.
weird names.
Yeah, of course. So
Yeah.
Tamiya.
It is. But I mean, they gave you these epic sticker kits
I
for
know.
every single kit.
Yeah.
You got this huge pile of really well done
Yeah.
decals, to put on, and they seem to have lasted the test of time. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. I think that body's seen better days. It looks like it's partially melted from heat.
The heat sinks and stuff from back
Yeah.
then, yeah. But again, it's a great representation of
Yeah.
what was available back in the 80s. And, I'm really glad that not only do we have the vintage ones, but we can also have the re-release at the same time. So it's a lot of fun. Looks great.
that's super cool. Anything else we should expect from Sang's Tamiya collection?
Yeah, any big plans this summer? Anything you want to acquire? You said you were getting the Fox, so you've got that coming.
Yeah, it's coming in. I wish it would just came on Friday, so I could have sat here and I could
Well, don't worry.
work on
We'll
it.
do a rig review. We'll do a rig
Yeah.
review for that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just to run them, like I have to stop collecting them and just get them out and enjoy them.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. This like never been seen outside. Like I ran it just maybe for 2 seconds. This never ran this. Oh, this one, yeah, this has to be run.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they just I just want to get them out in video, race, whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's true. Like you can only have so many shelf queens before you want to sort of take them out and enjoy them and bash them around. So yeah, you sort of collect based on what you want to do with them, whether you want to put them on the shelf or whether you want to go around and have some fun. So yeah, you've got quite the collection, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's pretty much summer. Enjoy them.
Great.
So we talked about in your rig reviews on your vintage Tamiya, we talked about doing another Tamiya vintage off-road challenge.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we should do that. We'll probably this summer we'll do a vintage Tamiya challenge, as you say. We'll get them out. We'll get Sang out. And we'll have a bunch of as many as we can get and have some fun with that. So stay tuned for that.
It looks like we got a lot to do this summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how long is it going to take to drive each one of these cars?
And film them and so on and
That's
so
right.
forth. Yeah. Yeah, and of course where we are, our winter has lasted a long time, and our summer it looks like it's going to be cut short. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot of weekends of good times.
Yeah, we're going to have to jam it in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Nicely done.
Yes, great.
Well, this is a kind of an unexpected section of your collection to me, because I wasn't expecting to see this. That kind of brings back a few memories.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know that you had one of each of these different ones. You know what I didn't see here was an Avante.
Yeah. That's,
Should have one, right?
I don't have one.
Oh no! Whoa!
Whoa.
You heard that here first. Well, that's what you're gonna have to do this summer is get one of those.
Start
right?
looking.
Yeah.
I just love the futuristic, all the metal links.
It
and,
is super loaded
it
with
looks-
metal, eh? That car's beautiful.
That's something that is meant to look at. I wouldn't even run that.
Really?
No.
It's a piece
No.
of art, right?
It's a piece of art.
I
I've
get
run
that.
these, yeah.
I get that.
The Avante.
For sure.
But there's a few other four-wheel drive Tamiya buggies out there. There's one, the Big Wig, which I know you're not fond of.
No.
But that's where it has the suspension. It's actually uprights.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of similar to this, but with a really interesting looking body.
Yeah.
Then, of course, I have the Super Shot, which is kind of like the Hot Shot, but with the suspension all
Upright.
Yeah,
uprights.
yeah.
And that's a good handling buggy.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Because I like the design on this. The double wishbone is a great design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Really good. Okay.
Well, thanks again.
Yes. Thank you.
Coming
Thank you.
out.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. And make sure you like and subscribe and share. Put your comments down below and put this up on Tamiya clubs that you find, and we'll get Sang to answer your comments. And I'll put links down below for Sang's channel for the part 1 of this section,
The Tamiya Challenge.
the Tamiya Vintage Off-Road Challenge video.
Yeah.
There'll be a bunch of links down below for this stuff. And what else do we have to put on the links? Anything?
I think that's it. I think we're good.
Do you do build threads for any of these cars?
I was thinking about doing that too while I was doing up to 3 or 4 in the morning. The
Fox. Yeah.
I mean,
Fox.
I mean, it's funny. I have a table, I don't know, not as big as this. There is working on it, and I have my camera next to me. So every half an hour. Stop. I was
Taking pictures.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I might post that on
that'd be good.
on YouTube just
Yeah.
to see the progression of that. Even the body.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I got it from cleaning the body, from just kind of scruff a little bit, and trimming the body, and painting it, and masking, you name it. So, but this was just like slideshow. But I think I'd like to do a build review and just kind of show a few steps along the way.
Yeah, you should.
I might as well, since I spent like 10 hours building it.
Why
You
not?
should.
As well, yeah.
So check out Sang's channel, and when he gets his build-up video going there, you can subscribe there and get that hooked up too. So guys, thanks for coming out again.
Thanks.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
you, Dana.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for coming up,
Yeah, same.
and enjoy, guys. Bye-bye.